But one element of this, the authoritarianism that we are find ourselves in this country, is undergirded by a religious fundamentalism. And this has been around. I mean, back during the Bush years, when we talked about these things and talked about the level of which our government policy is a function of religious fundamentalism. We saw it back then with pharmacists deciding that they weren't going to hand out birth control, or the Secretary of State or the clerk in Kentucky, I think it was, who has incidentally refiled a case with the Supreme Court to reverse marriage equality. All of this religious fundamentalism is sort of bundled up in with Trump. We've had since then legislation called RFRA passed, which basically was allow religious freedom for fundamentalists, which we have religious freedom in this country. The question is, are you excluded? Can you abstain from following laws that are specifically about civil society because of your religious beliefs? Are you can you participate in those professions? I mean, it's one thing for a religious person to say, like, I'm not going to become a doctor because I don't want to have to perform legal abortions in this country. That's perfectly within your choice. But can you get licensed by civil society? Can you receive funding? Can you operate on what civil society has built and then just ignore our laws? And that's certainly what we're seeing in an aggressive way now. This is a town hall in Jonesboro, Tennessee. An anonymous woman who's a mother last week was talking in this town hall. Watch this video.
I just found out that I'm pregnant again. I've been with my partner for about 15 years, though we're not married. I just had my first visit, and that provider told me that thanks to that act, they were not comfortable treating me because I am an unwed mother, and that goes against their Christian values. I'm lucky enough to live in a part of the state where I can seek care across state lines, and that's what I'm doing, traveling to Virginia for my prenatal care, scared out of my mind that I will go into labor and not be able or have to deliver in this state with a provider who feels that child's life is more valuable than mine. While we do love and want this child, I also have a 13-year-old, and I can't leave her behind. I call Marsha's office twice a day. Woo-hoo. I'm either blocked or she has all calls going directly to voicemail. I've never even reached a staffer. And when I contacted Bill Haggerty's office, I was told that he's not obligated to listen to his constituents. Love that.
Yeah. So there you have it. I mean, this is happening in Tennessee, but people are, these are all models for how the federal government's going to operate. And because she's a woman who clearly had sex outside of marriage because she's a single mom, the state has decided that she doesn't deserve the same rights as a woman who has been married. That's what it comes down to.
Just to underline that, because the audio was a little bit unclear, but she said, because I was an unwed mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is how, I mean, the Commonwealth Fund did this analysis where they looked at states with abortion restrictions and states that don't have or have less stringent abortion restrictions in the wake of the overturning of Roe. And they just showed that the states that are most restrictive with abortion are also considered maternity deserts. And the states that have abortion access or something like 25% more in terms of maternal care that's available for people. And because when you attack abortion and you attack women's health care or health care for people who can get pregnant, it is a war on the entire clinic, basically. And then it extends into other forms of like religious authoritarianism or fundamentalism. And with the Republican bill with Medicaid, rural areas are also going to be affected by this. Just in terms of maternal care more broadly. So you have the war on any provider that is providing an abortion via state restrictions. And then you also have the Republicans on the federal level gutting Medicaid, essentially, and hundreds of rural hospitals are going to close. This is like when we talk about eugenicism and how decisions at the top affect people below. Like, this is basically saying if you're poor and you're in a rural area, you're shit out of luck.
I mean, we know the cost of childcare is so expensive pretty much everywhere. So we're telling a mother that she needs to go across state lines to get care. Okay, I guess just have the 13-year-old, stay home by herself, put some pizza rolls in the oven?
Yep. I mean, this is where we're headed. It is all part and parcel of the coalition that got Donald Trump elected. It is, and the days in which we look to a specific state and say, well, it can't happen everywhere. I think hopefully people understand that, of course it can. That's the plan.
And abortion restrictions are punishment for that. That's how religious fundamentalists view it. And it doesn't just stop at people who need abortions. It's also going to be about IVF or
in this
getting
case,
pregnant outside of marriage.
Prenatal care.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about I know it's silly to talk about hypocrisy, but this just goes to show you that it's not just about abortion. It is about trying to control women. And if you can justify no prenatal care for the unborn fetus, if you can justify that because the woman is unmarried, we are so far away from the idea of valuing life. This is about religious fundamentalism. It is about patriarchy. It is about maintaining a discipline over women and what they do with their bodies, to the point where, and that's why birth control is on the table for these folks. Because, I mean, if you can deny prenatal care, you could certainly deny birth control to an unwed woman.
I mean, and this is also why we talk about things as rights and why it's so important to enshrine things as rights on the federal level. Because when you have cases like the cake maker that, the right-wing organization funded that case to go to the Supreme Court. And if they want to discriminate against a gay couple and not make a cake for their wedding, that when you start to go down that road, it sets a precedent for, say, private medical providers to make determinations about who they will and will not serve based on their so-called religious values. And especially, again, in these rural areas where there's already these medical deserts and it's just going to get worse over the next 4 years. This is life and death.
Yeah, don't forget that woman in Georgia. Did you guys cover that? Who was kept alive on a table after being only 8 weeks pregnant? Because she wasn't allowed to have an abortion, I guess, in death.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, we were
rotting on a
just
table.
rotting on the table, and the baby was born, but the mother was dead.
That was because of a heartbeat act.
That's what God would have wanted.
And we necessarily have to do what God wants, or their God, specifically their God. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.